this idea around the company started many years back. So it was from like a friend that worked within this hospitality industry. He said that he came to me and said that they had a huge problem with staffing. So get the right people in the restaurants and in the hotel, and especially in the kitchen. So he said that sort of you study technology, probably you should be able to do some app or whatever. So, and this was about, I guess, almost 4 years from now. So I started to look at it, and we gathered a group, and we tried to see, okay, what can we do? And that was at the same time as like all these platform companies, as Uber and all this, they just exploded. So everything is going to be an app, and everything is going to be like own a platform, and you don't really own it yourself. You're just offering services between like a middle part. So that was our first take on it. So what we looked at from the beginning was how can we actually get the chefs in the kitchen? How can we get that in a staffing manner? So how can we sort of that we can rent chefs to different restaurants? So yeah, I guess that's the answer. How we just saw another contact. We got into the industry, and we saw that that industry is not digitalized in sort of any way. That's starting to happen now, but at that time it wasn't.
Yeah.
So at the first phase of this, then it was more of a project than a company. Actually, I was like a spider in the net. So I just looked in my network. So just friends. So I know some guy studied economics. Then I brought him in for the economics part. And then I talked to another person that was really good in like digital marketing. That's perfect. Then you get some marketing people, and that's what we did. The problem was the first time we were 8 people in this group, and we worked with these questions and how we're gonna formalize it into a sort of a company and a business model. And the first time we absolutely failed totally. But then on the second round, as the company is now, so it was me and Max that we were discussing this. We have sort of ended the first project. We sort of discussed, okay, how can we move forward with this? That we know that this was a huge problem. We didn't know how to solve it. So I was studying in Singapore. So we did some during one of the entrepreneurship courses there. I took this idea into this project group, and we worked with that. And then he did the same in Barcelona at the same time. And then when we both got back to Sweden, we sat together and sort of we had 2 different takes on this idea and problem. And from there we formalized how we could proceed. And so that way was the first how we got into start this small team that we started at KTH at the same time, and we have pretty much the same background, but we have different interest areas. So in that way we combine each other. So like our first take of this was like we wanted to have a huge user base. Like everyone wants to have many users, right? So we wanted to have this community to build up like a big platform, and then sort of like the big crowd shouldn't pay. Instead, we should have some premium customers, and in this case, it's the employers that pay. So the business model was, of course, it took like 1.5 or 2 years to build this business model. What will actually work, and what are the customers willing to pay, and how should this model look like? Is it a one-time fee? Is it a subscription, or what's going to be? We want to have this user base. So in the beginning, it was like we did it for free, almost. But the thing is, I guess most of the people realize that if you give something for free, they don't trust it. They don't commit anything. So many of the restaurants wanted to, sure, we can try, but they never really used it. It was just because it was free, but they didn't use it. So instead we started to have a small fee, because then they buy in. They do some sort of commitment. Okay, we can pay for this, but that also means that if they're paying for it, even if it's a small amount, they feel like, oh, we have paid for this, we need to use it now, right? So that was a really strange thing. For us it was like, if we do it for free, we're gonna have more customers. That wasn't the case. If we had a small amount, we got even more customers, but also they were more active. Yeah, of course. There's many takes of how we can scale, and we're not finished how that's gonna work. So one way is scaling in terms of we have this industry, and we scale it by going to different regions. It could be different countries. Expand to the Nordic market is pretty close combined. That's one way to do it. One way is to broaden the sort of the portfolio, so we have more services. So we stay with the same market, and instead we just having more services to offer. That's also one way to expand. Another way to expand, of course, is to, when we have a product, or when we see that this is the way how we can solve it, do sort of a copy and paste, and then go for another industry as well. So we know that, for example, the construction industry in Sweden also having this huge problem with the recruiting. But of course we need to, probably we can start, have the sort of the same the platform, but of course it needs to be tailored. That's the problem. That's why we're doing like this. There are many different like places where you can find jobs in different industries, but our take was to do this niched product just towards this industry.
I know, for us, we are now LinkedIn or Glassdoor where you can find jobs, but they're not very so specific. So maybe it's your application.
Yeah, and also we of course started with LinkedIn. And if you look at the sort of, especially the IT industry, everyone is on LinkedIn.
I have a lot of places just in IT.
But if you instead go to this the hospitality industry, I think with some research was done, it's like only the top 9% of the industry is using LinkedIn, and with the top 9 we mean so the management and above. The problem is then that's not the problem that the restaurants have to find these people. The people are, where's the other 90%? And that was sort of our take on it. How can we build a platform for this 90% or 50%? Doesn't matter. But how can we find this? How can we create this platform for the people that don't really have another place to go? Of course, there's multiple ways to do this. Like, our take on this one as well is like if we offer if we put a job ad, then you can apply for this job, and then to apply they need to create an account in our platform. So the more job advertisements we have, the faster our platform will grow. So that's one way, and of course we want to do like, we offer this functionality, you can sort of invite friends and all this, so we wanted to create this community. But also we did one I would say probably the most successful marketing was to sort of create a function for the employers that or more for the employees. So when you're writing your application, you can also sort of link reference. So you can say that, okay, I know this guy, and he can tell you that I'm a really good person, and I have this experience. So what we did was then this person gave us the email or the phone number. So what we did was we contacted this person and said, can you confirm that this guy has these competencies? In that way, we did this by automation. So by this way, every time they put a phone number, we reach a new customer. So that was our way to scale and how to get in contact with new clients. No, of course. Like if you say that you're unique, you're probably lying. So it depends on how you mean. But like, you have this job advertisement places. We have Block the Job in Sweden. We have Monster is a huge one, but they are generic. So like multiple industries. So of course they can say that we have 1 million visitors each month. But then it's sort of like, okay, yeah, but of this 1 million, how many are, for example, chefs? And maybe it's just 40 or I don't know. But so instead we wanted to create this unique for this industry. And then instead you have some sort of job advertisements pages for this industry, but they're just lacking technologies, really bad experience, and not really, especially with this new GDPR, it's not really safe to apply for what you can see. So.
Come first.
Yeah, so for example, if we compare to this Arbetsförmedlingen, so in Sweden to get sort of this, if you don't have work, you can have this small fee, or not fee. You get some amount of money just sort of to survive, but then you need to apply for some works. So it could be like you need to within 1 week you need to apply for 40 jobs. The thing is, what they are making then is that people are applying to works that doesn't fit them, but they just need the number to increase. So what happens if you put a job advertisement there, you maybe get 100 applicants. The problem is that they don't have the experience, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skills, they have nothing related to this. Or maybe there's one out of this 100 that are. But if you get one mailbox with 100 emails, it's really hard to it takes a huge amount of time to go through these emails. So what we do is we have some functionalities that when you're applying for a job, you need to have the knowledge within this area to be able to apply. So that's our niche. So instead of 100 applicants, you probably get, depends of course, it's like, it could be 5, or it could be 10, or it could be 40, but it's more relevant candidates. It's a good question. It's absolutely something we need to, or we have worked with much to sort of see. Is it enough large markets for us to have to run a company and to be profitable? But as I said, like there's different ways how this can expand. So you can do it by also sort of adding these different services. So if you have a huge user base, then you can add different. It can be that you can. So now we're focusing absolutely on the recruitment. We recently launched this employee survey tool, and then there's like more of a. You can go more towards a HR tool area where you can offer more services. So that's one way to sort of expand. So if you from the beginning have like this circle of segment, or you can expand it in different ways. So either by expanding to different industries, expanding your product portfolio, or just expanding outside Sweden. Put this, of course, like so. I'm gonna like put these classical words. So like working agile. So we often started it mostly because of the KTH innovation. We sort of we need to formalize a hypothesis. So we think that if we implement this stuff and we do it by this and this, then we're gonna measure if we're gonna succeed in these ways. So when we launch new features or when we go to market, we always try to measure. Okay, so what will be the impact? If this is good, it's bad. So many of the features and ideas that we had was like, we are 100% sure that if we launch this, we're gonna get 10 more new customers. And then we launch it, and it's like no one wants to pay for it. It's not a big need. So then we need to change it. So did that answer your question?
Yeah.
And also, like, if you look back 3 years from when we started the company itself, it's like I wouldn't say it's a new industry, but when we started, the industry was not digitalized at all. Nothing. It's like people. If you go out on the streets here, you see most of the people with a smartphone. But 3 years back, we couldn't say that the majority of the people in the kitchens we're talking have the smartphones. Then you can't launch a mobile app if the people don't have a smartphone, right? So it's also, you need to see, is the industry mature enough to take your idea? So, but there's a huge shift there. So now I would say probably we can say that 95% of people have a smartphone, and that changes the market for how we can reach these people, and also how they will communicate. Well, you probably can. Like, of course, it's great with project works during school. I guess that's probably the most one of the things you're gonna have most. What it should be most useful when you go out to the work then later, because everything is about this project, working with working with teams, working with people. It's very few positions that is just working on yourself. So absolutely. But then of course, if you do this side project, you run your company, you need to find a way to work in an efficient way to move forward. So sort of forcing yourself into it. So this is a really interesting question, and I think it's really hard. Because if I go back, so the first phase, as I said, that we totally failed, was that we gathered people that was really good in their domain and competence areas. But the thing is, to run your own company, you need to have. There's also a mindset. I wouldn't put it as a lifestyle, but at least a mind. You need to think of the mindset, how to drive it. So first off, it's like, if you don't do the work yourself, no one else is going to do it. So if you don't put time in your company, it's not going to succeed, right? So even if you find it's really boring to create a business model or go out and sell, no one else is going to do it. So you need to do it. That's the first thing. So that's what we met in the first phase. So we had people that were really good, they were well educated, great confidence. The thing was, they were sort of, I wouldn't say lazy, but you understand what I mean. So they wouldn't use that. They wanted someone to say, you need to do this, you need to do this. But that's not really how it's going to work. You need to take the pin and okay, now we need to do this now. I'm going to do it. That's the mindset you need to have. Then sort of you can divide it towards a group, of course, but you need to have the mindset that we need to do this together, not someone else going to do it. So if you're a large company, you have these different departments, so they have the economics department, blah blah. But now you just need to do it, and that's I would say most important thing. You need to have the mindset that you need to spend hours to create a company and project, whatever. You just need to. If you're gonna write a report, if you don't write, it's not gonna write itself, right? So my situation right now is that I'm working full-time at Accenture. It's a huge IT consulting company. But also at the same time I'm running this company with my colleagues. So of course there's pros and cons with everything, right? So to have your own company, I go back with this mindset, like it's very flexible. So if I don't want to work this today, I don't really need to do it, right? But that means that nothing will really happen with the company. The company will not really grow by itself. But that's also a stressing thing, as I said. That means that if I'm not doing it, I'm not gonna. But also it can be that it's really hard to set that now I'm done for today, because there's always stuff to be done. So I think it's depending on the lifestyle and also on the situation. Of course, the financial part is a really crucial one. So if you have if you need to get money in, so that's why I think it's really good with starting a company when you're a student, because then you can study, and then in Sweden you get this small salary stuff, and at the same time you can have a company, and then it's not that you don't really need this you don't really need the financial part to be super successful. You just need to sort of see that the business model is working, but you don't need to grow the big money. But if you are working full-time with a startup, then you need to have your financials on the right side, right? So, and that could mean that you need to take on an investment, and if you do it too early, it could also be that you're giving away way too large amount of share to a low price, just because you needed money in that situation. So, if possible, of course, try to stay out of investments if you don't see why you need it. And we still haven't gone out trying to get the investments because we don't see that we need it. And from the beginning, we didn't have any costs, so we don't have any people employed. So it's only us that are the owners of the company. And right now we're having salaries from other parts, so we don't need to take out cash from the
last.
It's really hard, especially when you sort of get forced in a school project that I should come up with a totally new idea. I would say that won't happen. So, and that's sort of back to innovation for me. Personal for me, it's sort of like if you see a great idea and you see that this idea could be shifted into this area or in this situation, and then fill up or fulfill a gap. So, what we do right now is we're not the first person doing this, right? And it's not a huge innovation, but sort of just very smart that we are taking one part, we are tailoring it, and we're putting it into another market. That's, I would say, most of the companies come up in that way. So it doesn't need to be totally unique, but you just need to tailor it and then make it unique in the way that how you're selling it or how it's working. It's like you're not gonna invest the wheel today, right? It's real hard.
Thank you so much.